Clear? So once again, this is my Telegram channel, people. Any doubts or queries, previous year questions, all these you can send it over here. Now, last class, basically, we saw the different types of people. Different types of PSUs. We started with departmental undertaking, then we went into public corporations, we went into government companies, and then we finally saw management control boards. These are the four things we saw. We saw its advantages, limitations, merits, demerits, etc. Let me tell you once again, ये सिर्फ जानकारी के लिए ही ले लो, क्योंकि एक बार सवाल आ गया था और वो भी आ गया था पेपर 1 में, पेपर 2 में भी नहीं. Getting the point here? Different types of PSUs, comparing their advantages or disadvantages. This was a question in paper 1, not in paper 2. Clear? In paper 2, what question can you expect then? Largely 80 to 90% or 80 to 100% we can say the question from this section will be largely to do with disinvestment. Why? We know 1991 से NPM has become very prominent in India. कैसे? In the form of LPG. This we have seen new public management being implemented in India through LPG. Liberalization, privatization, globalization. मतलब क्या है? Whichever PSUs are running at a loss, shut it down or privatize it. Now let me be very clear here. 10 या 15 साल पहले, if anybody would have said that Air India should be privatized, I'm telling you that government would have invited so much of criticism. Government big gaya hai. This government is only for the private people. People would have said many such statements. Today, nobody is talking about it. Why? Air India is such a loss-making unit that your money, my money, our taxpayers' money was going into drain. So today the outlook has changed. The outlook is people themselves are asking, if something is running at a loss, why is the government running it? Give it to the private player. Hindustan Aeronautics Limited's delay was openly criticized by the Air Force Chief. It was like everything's said and done. If you don't deliver, whatever contracts you sign, if you don't deliver it on time, what is the whole point? Because that is what it is. Technology is one such thing. आज के तारीख पर जो टेक्नोलॉजी चाहिए आज ही चाहिए, 10 साल बाद नहीं. Because 10 साल बाद today's technology will become redundant. It will become a waste. Getting the point here? So now we are going to, so this chapter again and again I am telling you, this is the main topic here. Okay, should the government run the PSUs? Is disinvestment the only policy? All this, इससे जुड़े हुए सवाल ही आएगा because this is always in news. हमेशा ये न्यूज में खबरों में रहेगा कि whether government's disinvestment policy is good, this particular PSU is going to get shut down, or this particular PSU government is planning to give it away to the private player. These things will keep coming in news. So that is the reason why that will be the major focus area of UPSC, because it will be easy also for UPSC to know whether people are reading the newspaper or not, whether they are updated with current affair or not. Clear? So now onwards, we will be seeing the recommendation part. What is the overall performance of PSUs? All that we will be seeing. In addition to this, please understand the current affair video what I am posting since December. Now I have been posting it December 2024. Jan 2025 current affair video of PABAD has also been posted. वहां पर आप क्या करोगे? PSU से जुड़े हुए, if it any news is there, you will check. You will check whether PSU news is there. Otherwise also, how to find it out. Just like your course is over, your whatever package you bought from PW, it's expired. You don't have access to videos anymore. You only have my notes, but you want to update it by yourself. How do you do that? In the Google search tab, what you will do is public sector unit India. All images news. Then whatever extra stuff. This is how the Google search tab will look. यहाँ पर आपने type किया, and generally you will find always this is where all the things will come with regard to PSU in India. That means even the material or the content prepared by other academies, that will also come here. We don't want that. We only want what is in news. This way, when you do it, you will get, as with regard to public sector units in India, whatever news material has appeared, that will come. Pick it out. We only need what? Example, where a PSU got privatized, or a PSU is government is considering to privatize a PSU, or government is planning to shut down a PSU, or because of this privatization or shutting down, what are the associated problems that are coming? Iska examples easily mil jayega. Note down the name of the PSU. Note down what is the problem. End of the story. Just the outline is enough. Name, ho kya raha hai, what is happening, what is the problem. 3 lines. UPSC needs only that much, not beyond that. Pura kahani zarurat nahi hai. Government is planning to divest 70% of the stake, and because of this much revenue will come. Because of that problem will come. Just the outline. If it gets divested completely, pura ka pura bhej diya hai, then note it down. Then note down the name. कितना पैसा मिल गया, फायदा क्या है, नुकसान क्या है. Note down the amount of money that the government got. What is the advantage? What is the disadvantage of disinvestment? This is the strategy. This is the same strategy that you are going to adopt for the upcoming topics of paper 2. Once the course is over, same thing you can do with what? Prime Minister's office, Cabinet Secretary, whatever topic you want, where you want to know what current affair news has appeared with regard to it, PMO India news, Cabinet Secretary India news. India lagana mat bhulna. Always put PMO India laga do, varna you will get news from the rest of the world also. That we don't want. We only want news with regard to India. Whatever you type in here, put in India, click on news. You will get it. Same strategy you can adopt even for non-PubAd topics. Nanotechnology, India news. Biotechnology, India news. Simple. Getting the point here, people? This is the way you do smart preparation. And I would suggest don't go for ChatGPT or any AI-related search activities, because they are not at all updated. They won't have access to many news articles also. That is the only reason. These are all nice, but don't depend on it blindly. Clear, people? So, let us start with our first topic of discussion today, which is Arjun Sengupta Committee recommendations, which is again for your information only. Why? Because this is very, very old. बहुत सारे recommendations आज के तारीख पर it is not even relevant. It is not even relevant. Just like how we are going to see, many people will say even today, sir, second administrative reforms commission बहुत important है. I remember this topper telling it to me. SARC recommendations, if you really see now, I think it's close to 20 years, I think, since it came out. Technology has changed much in this last 20 years. Most of the recommendations given by SARC today are not relevant anymore, because we have already entered into digital governance, e-office, reducing the interface between government and the employee. तो कुछ कुछ हम ले सकते हैं, लेकिन बहुत सारा चीज has become totally digital, totally online. So most of the recommendations does not have any value today. That is the main reason. लेकिन कुछ चुन चुने what is it recommendations we will note down as a matter of way forward. Clear, people? So let's start right into it. Good morning, Suganya. Good morning, Satish. Good morning, Sakshi. Good morning, Lipika. Realizing the critical role assigned to the public sector in the mobilization of resources for the 7th plan, the Government of India decided to set up a high-level committee to review and suggest policies for improving the performance of public enterprises. This committee, headed by Arjun Sengupta, then Special Secretary to the Prime Minister, was set up in September 1984. Performance of a chief executive of a public enterprise should be evaluated on the basis of an agreed set of clear targets. Whoever is in top of a PSU, the chief executive officer or the chairman, jo bhi hai, the performance should be evaluated on the basis of what? Clear set targets. Clear set targets means quantifiable, measurable. जैसे कि फॉर एग्जाम्पल प्रॉफिट, कितना प्रॉफिट लाया, उसके प्रॉफिट ज्यादा है, परफॉर्मेंस इज गुड, प्रॉफिट कम है, परफॉर्मेंस इज बैड. इजी. You and I also will understand that language very easily. An appropriate information system capable of monitoring public enterprise performance in terms of these targets should be developed. Appropriate information system, that is कितना प्रॉफिट आ गया, टर्नओवर कितना है, what is the profit, what is the turnover, what is the total operational cost, what is the loss involved, what are the other extraneous costs involved, everything, numbers. Because numbers, when you have, it is easy to compare whether things are improving or things are declining. The committee claims that from the point of view of planning and budgetary management, public enterprises may be grouped as follows: enterprises operating in the core sector, financially viable enterprises in the non-core sector, and enterprises in the non-core sector incurring losses. This is the differentiation given then. लेकिन आज के तारीख पर this is not relevant anymore. There is only government's current decision. आज के तारीख पर क्या है? Only two types of PSUs. One which belongs to the core sector, the other which belongs to the non-core sector. Simple. Core sector के अंदर है, fine, we will take time whether to disinvest or not. Non-core sector के अंदर है, it is running at a loss, shut it down or privatize it. That is the current trend today. So this is no more that applicable, because as you can see 84 ka recommendations hai, more than 40 years old. Obviously many things won't have relevance. These 2 points, it is very relevant and it is being followed today. That is why I have underlined it. Clear? Government concerned overall strategic planning rather than day-to-day administration. मतलब government should only focus on the larger goal. 5 साल, 10 साल, 20 साल, long-term planning. Not that you keep interfering every day. Who came late? Who came early? Why are you doing this? Why are you not doing that? No. The enterprise accountable for their performance in relation to the goals set and an appropriate mechanism for evaluation of their performance. Again, same point only what we saw earlier. That is, just like how you are going to evaluate the chief executive based on performance, enterprise also you should evaluate based on what? Performance. This is very much relevant today. Management by objective accomplished by increasing the quality of controls and reducing the quantity. Very, very relevant. Management by objective means what? Objective means a parameter. I am giving a benchmark. Itna profit lao, itna turnover, this much loss should be reduced. I'm giving a proper value. Becomes easy to monitor. Management by objective, which is given by Peter Drucker. We'll be taking it up separately. All right. Good morning, Abarna. In a parliamentary form of government, our public enterprises cannot be free from governmental scrutiny of their general policies as well as some aspects of their day-to-day operations. It is necessary to evolve a convention by which members of parliament accept some self-imposed restraints on the nature of the questions they ask. Means what? The committee is indirectly admitting that Parliament's interference in the operation of PSU has reached to such a level where they even interfere in the day-to-day operations. Arjun Sengupta committee has accepted it. Yes, sahi hai. Not only in the overall performance, but day-to-day operations, maybe Parliament is interested. What is the suggestion that the committee is telling? Members themselves should be what? Exercise some self-imposed restraint. Don't do too much of interference. Khud thoda, you exercise self-control. Don't ask unnecessary questions. And if you actually see, when was the last time that you have heard? Now, you have also been reading the newspapers for quite a few times. You will be reading at least the current affair compilation. Have you ever seen a PSU related question being asked inside the parliament and a minister giving answers for it? You won't see it much anymore. Because compared to the 80s, today actually MPs don't even bother about PSUs much. That is the reality. Until and unless the PSU is going to be privatized or it is going to be shut down, hardly you hear what MPs asking questions over PSUs. Because MPs have understood, even the opposition knows it, that there is no point in actually running a loss-making PSU. Getting the point, people? So, somewhere we can say, yes, to an extent, this is being implemented today. Self-imposed restraint. Hardly MPs ask questions about PSUs these days. Clear? Moving on. United Kingdom, they found it necessary to pass the self-denying ordinance which limits governmental meddling by law and not by conventions. अब ये क्या है? This is a clear example of comparative public administration. UK में क्या किया? UK में rather than convention, they passed a law. By law, government cannot interfere in the day-to-day working of PSU. कानूनी बना दिया. You can give this as a suggestion to improve working of PSU. Number one. Number two, this is a classic example of comparative public administration. Getting the point here? The committee argues that the only way to reduce governmental intervention in the day-to-day operations of the enterprise is to create a holding company, thereby eliminating government's day-to-day contact with the enterprise. The committee recommends that the concerned ministry should evaluate the performance of holding companies under them. मतलब क्या है? This is a classic example of whenever, that is, bureaucracy creates more work for itself. Best example. Rather than telling the ministry, just give the PSU enough freedom. Instead, what the committee has recommended, Arjun Sengupta committee, बीच में एक holding company create करो. Holding company means क्या? Just as the name says, it holds the PSU. Holding company will manage the affairs of the PSU, day-to-day matters. Ministry will deal with the holding company, not with the PSU. You are creating an intermediary here where ministry will directly evaluate performance of HC. Best example for bureaucracy creating work for itself. Another example, obviously, for PSU's way forward. Suggestion कि क्या कर सकते हैं to reduce ministerial level interference. आगे. The committee recommends that the concerned ministry should evaluate the performance of holding companies under them. The committee, taking note of the suggestion made by some groups that there is no need for representation of the government on the board of directors of public enterprises, has however recommended that this practice should continue nevertheless. मतलब बोर्ड में PSUs के बोर्ड में you have government appointed members in the board. Correct? Now, why you have created a holding company? Holding company create करने का purpose क्या था? Reduce interference, day-to-day interference, है ना? Now you have government is directly, government means ministry only, has appointed some members in the board. They will show wafadari, or they will be more inclined towards what? They will keep reporting to the ministry. In other words, ministry is still in control. Saw the irony here. एक तरफ the committee is telling holding company create करोगे तो interference कम हो जाएगा day to day. दूसरे तरफ what is the committee telling? The practice of having government appointed members in the board of the PSU, let it continue. What is the whole point then? तो यहां पर भी government interference, यहां पर भी government interference. So whatever autonomy or freedom we are talking about, it just becomes cosmetic. Makeup डालने के बराबर. Lip service. Only talk of autonomy. Ground reality, if you see, there is no autonomy here. Clear? And again, not relevant today. This is not at all relevant today because we are moving into an era where you need experts to manage, specialists to manage PSUs, not a civil servant, not an IAS officer, not an IPS officer, not an IRS officer. Do they have experience in that field, that particular field? Hire them. If they don't have, remove them or don't hire them. Clear? They argue that government directors are generally a positive source of help and mediation between the government and enterprises. That is, they will be able to mediate with the government. That is why we have them there. They will be able to tell the government that this is why we are doing this. They can act as a bridge between the government and the other board of directors. What extent it has worked out, God Almighty knows. It recommended for a system of memorandum of understanding to improve the performance of the PSUs. This is very much in practice today. MOU, यानी कि हर साल, let us say now this March, April, an MOU is signed by the PSU with the ministry. And in that MOU, very clearly it is written what should be the profit achieved, how much should be the turnover, how much loss you should bring down. All these parameters are clearly defined. The PSU chairman or executive officer, they will sign, minister also will sign. 1 saal, ek saal baad, minister can literally question why the profit is less. You agreed for this much profit, but your profit is less. Why? That is the point. Today we are having this in practice. More on this, we will take it up separately under the separate topic of MOU. The holding company would also specify its plans for investments, production, capacity utilization, dividends, etc. for a 5-year period and therefore enter into the memorandum of understanding with the government on mutually agreed basis. ये भी आज relevant है. What and all are they measuring here? What are the plans for investments, production, capacity utilization, dividends for a 5-year period? Very much relevant today. आगे का plan क्या? Certain obligations would also be cast on the ministry or department regarding provision of equity, price level, etc. Equity, price level, etc. means that PSU is going public. So what will be the share price? All right. Taking it further forward. This memorandum of understanding would be reviewed each year and updated, and the performance of the holding company judged on this basis, making due allowance for the failure or otherwise of the ministry or department to fulfill its part of the understanding. What I explained already. This is what is happening today. Each year this is checked. It argues that the original objective of providing maximum autonomy in the day-to-day management of public enterprise has not been met. The main culprits, according to the report, are the specific clauses in the Articles of Associations, Bureau of Public Enterprises, government guidelines and directions, the procedures followed for scrutinizing investment funding, etc. That is, this is the classic example of private companies wanting to do investment in the country. They are having a lot of issues. It is not easy to get clearance here. We can understand. Government के खुद का company. Imagine a government run PSU. Owner कौन है? Government. For that itself, Articles of Association. Articles of Association simply means how you are supposed to deal with other PSUs. What are the criteria to be followed? What and all compliances you should get it done. The Bureau of Public Enterprises, that is all the public enterprises put together. Unke saath the compliance, government ki guidelines, directions. Following all of this is a Herculean task. Saath mein the culture of transfer, promotion, or getting a posting in some other PSU. All this if you put together, always you will have what issue? Continuity issue. PSUs itself are facing so much of bureaucratic delays Imagine the other private companies then. Getting the point here. This is an observation made by Arjun Sengupta committee back in 1984. Aaj, this has improved a lot. From 1984, we have definitely come a long way forward. Clear. But still we can see PSUs also struggling to what? With compliance. The committee recommends that the tenure of chief executives and full-time directors should be 5 years subject to a probationary period of 1 year and removal at 3 months notice for unsatisfactory performance. Very, very, very relevant even today. आज के तारीख में भी you can use this. Minimum tenure should be there. Performance is not good, fire them. It recommends that disciplinary proceedings against board level appointees is the responsibility of the government. Government should consult the chief executive in appointing part-time director. Agreed. Why? So that there is no ego issues. Anybody you are appointing here, consult the chief executive also once. Each enterprise management must submit to its board of directors once a year a manpower budget, the training or retraining plans for all categories of employees, particularly the managerial cadres. This is a very important point. How much money will be required to hire people, to train them, to retrain them? Very, very important. Because all said and done, we know we have so many PSUs. What job are they doing? Are they even updated with the current technology, with the current market demand? No. This is very much essential. In the case of a financially viable non-core sector, there is no need for detailed scrutiny of investment proposals. Again, not relevant today. The bonus should be linked to an increase in productivity at constant prices, not to financial profits and losses. Very relevant today. Also, example of what? Neo-Taylorism. This is your classical differential piece wage plan. ज़्यादा produce किया, ज़्यादा incentive. Your incentive is directly linked to increase in productivity. Not just profit or loss. Productivity is more, give them a bonus. Getting the point here. Productivity is more. Productivity has drastically improved, give them a bonus. The committee says that a mechanism has to be found to compensate the enterprise for the non-commercial burdens imposed by the government. Now, what do you mean by non-commercial burdens? PSU wants to sell a product at a certain price, market price. Government is telling, no, bring down the price. Bring down that price. That price we cannot sell. It is too bad. Ours is a poor man's government. We cannot do that. This was also one of the reasons why Air India failed. Because always the government was telling that how it is the whole idea of what Aam Aadmi should be able to fly. This was the dream behind Air India. Ordinary people should be able to use the Hawai Jahaz. By Maslow's hierarchy of needs theory itself, we can say this is a stupid and a foolish idea. Why? You ask any Aam Aadmi on the road, what is your biggest dream? What will make you really happy? He will only answer one simple thing. 90% of the people in this country will answer a very simple thing, which is what? Apun ko bas 3 waqt ka khana chahiye. I only want to eat 3 times a day, 3 meals a day. That is enough for me. I'll be happy. Somebody who is able to eat 3 meals a day, if you ask them what is their dream, bas, I want nice clothes to wear. Somebody who is able to eat food and clothes, then they will say, one home. Own home, I mean. Food, clothing, shelter, when all these three are taken care of, only then they are going to think about Hawai Jahaz. Otherwise, nobody is going to think about, oh, when they are not having proper food, when they are not having proper clothes to wear, when they are not having proper home, why will they even think about, oh, I want to fly on an aeroplane one day? You're not even going to think about that. Getting the point here, that is where this whole idea is a failure. And that was a non-commercial burden, right? Because of this one idea, airfares were kept low for Air India. Airfares were purposefully kept low. What did we achieve out of it? Nothing. Because at least we must see one thing, right? If all the other passenger aircrafts, that is other private airlines, they have kept a high fare, Air India alone keeps a low fare. What is the point? How is it going to make a difference other than the fact that Air India will be running at a loss? Getting the point here. Again, this point also, it has lost its relevance today. This also has lost its relevance. Government, at least today, the thought process have changed. That is, post 1991, government is largely looking into only two questions. As far as PSUs are concerned, that is it running at profit or is it running at a loss? If it is loss, then shut it or privatize it. It's been kept very simple. Zyada, let us not confuse or make it very complex. Is it running at profit? Fine. Let us leave it. Is it running at a loss? Shut it down or privatize it. End of the story. No more discussions, no more arguments. And because of the fact that the government successfully, 2014, 19, 24 now, government has been able to, the same party has been able to come into power more or less, they are able to maintain that consistency in policy. Clear? There are certain objectives that are common and these should form the basis for general performance criteria, which we'll come to when we look into MOU in detail. Clear, people? Any doubts here? Taking it further forward, these general criteria may fall into four groups: financial performance, productivity and cost reduction, technical dynamism, that is technologically how updated they are, effectiveness of project implementation. Note the word, people: effectiveness, performance, cost reduction. If you actually see this is nothing but 3 E's of NPM. Same thing, economy, financial performance means economy and efficiency. Effectiveness, 3 E's. The committee suggests the following three criteria to evaluate financial performance of public enterprise: gross margin on assets, where gross margin is the sales minus the operating cost; net profit on net worth, for core sector and profit making enterprises, where net profit is equal to gross margin minus depreciation minus interest. Net worth is equal to equity plus reserve. These are, again, the formulas you need not study. Just understand what it is. Gross margin on assets, then net profit, then gross margin on sales for service enterprises, defined as gross margin divided by sales. Monitoring costs and productivity of core sector PSUs. Still relevant today. The committee has recommended to dismantle PIS, Performance Information System, and move towards MIS. Management Information System. PIS is used by government bodies to monitor the socio-economically relevant behavior of its PSCs. It guides managers to take decisions in the national interest. A conventional MIS provides managers with a wealth of details on standard costs, inventory levels, and a multitude of other factors which help him to control cost. Performance Information System, Management Information System. What is the basic difference? See, if you see Performance Information System, the core focus is what? National interest here. Why? Because you are largely looking into socio-economic objectives. That means to what extent it is providing employment, how much it will reduce the poverty, why this particular product we have to sell it at a low cost, all of that. So the committee is recommending move away from PIS to MIS, Management Information System. Why Management Information System? Because when you talk about MIS, the core area, if you really see, it is economic performance. Why? Because you are going to look into number one, cost. Number two, inventory levels. Inventory levels means, what do you mean by inventory? Let us say a PSU is producing producing 100 units of a particular good, 100 units of a good, anything. Okay. 30 gets sold. Remaining is 70. And this 70 is kept where? In the godown or warehouse. It is kept, it's stored. That 70 is what? The 70 is your inventory. So at any given point of time, if you have management information system, means you know this much of cost, this much is remaining in the warehouse, this much has been sold. Now, if I take from the warehouse, if I have to take it and bring it to the market, what is the operating cost involved? Because market and warehouse will be in two different locations. So from here, if I have to take something, bring it to the market, how many trucks are involved? What is the diesel that will be consumed? What will be the rent of the truck? What will be the payment of the drivers? All of that I will have to sit and calculate. Getting the point here? This is the idea. If sometimes bringing this inventory to the market is a loss, 70 won't be enough. We have 70, but can we sell all the 70? No. We need more to actually make the cost even more lesser. Then we'll have to produce more. So all these decisions, if you need to take, MIS is the best indicator. Why? Solely based on measurable performances, properly quantifiable. Clear? The PIS, on the other hand, contains much less detail in this area, being concerned only with whether costs are rising or falling and whether it is due to price or quantity effects. The committee recommends that the performance audit should be continued and supplementary audit is not necessary for profitable non-core companies once common accounting policies are evolved. Very, very true today. Put a performance audit. Are they performing? Let them continue. Not performing, let them perish. That is today's ideology. The Sengupta Committee endorses the occasional post-mortem ex-post studies of the working of public enterprises by the Committee on Public Undertakings. Committee on Public Undertakings is your parliamentary committee. What is it? Occasional post-mortem ex-post studies. ये क्या है? Occasionally, the Committee on Public Undertakings in the Parliament should sit and do the working of the PSUs. After the profit has been generated or after the loss has occurred. To study. This is like what? This is basically additional checks and balances. You're basically asking the Parliament Committee to check whether the PSUs are doing a good job or not. Whether the work is happening or not. Whether it is at loss or not. And basically, because you're doing it after whatever has happened, like after the profit has been generated or after the loss has been generated, that is why you're calling it post-mortem study. यानी कि आदमी मर गया. The person is dead. Now you are doing a post-mortem and finding out, oh, this person had a nice physique. Oh, this person used to drink a lot. नुकसान तो हो गया या फायदा तो जो भी होना था, फायदा या नुकसान वो तो हो गया है. You're only doing a study now. Again, to ensure what parliamentary control can be exercised in this manner also. You need not actually stand up and ask the question to the minister to know whether the PSUs are doing a good job or not. Instead, you can ask the Committee on Public Undertakings to do an ex-post study on the PSUs to find whether they are doing a good job or a bad job. Reduces the ministerial level interference, reduces government control even more further without diluting parliamentary control over the PSUs. Because you're not interfering in day to day. After the whole thing has happened, profit or loss, only after that you are doing the studies. The committee recommends that all major projects should include technology adaptation programs, and for this purpose, the government should consider providing part of this expenditure as grant. Very, very important. Why this is very important? Because this is one of the biggest problems with the PSUs of our country. Technologically also, they are very backward. Check out the machinery that is being used in our country. We don't create any new machines. Instead, we are still importing the machines. Metro construction, highway construction, whatever it is. How many machines do you know which are made in India that is being used? Very limited. These days, they are developing. From Mahindra to Tata and other companies are also coming up with their own indigenous machines. But now they are coming. Back then, it was hardly there. Always it was technology. When it comes to technology, latest equipment, latest machinery, it will either come from Germany or from USA, sometimes from Russia. India, very well. Getting the point here. Loss-making enterprises are a burden on the public exchequer, and therefore they cannot expect the same degree of autonomy as financially viable units. The committee recommends capital restructuring by converting debt into equity. अब ये क्या है? Converting debt into equity. This again, you will be reading about it a lot in your current affairs. So let us say, me and Satish, we started a company. Okay, we started a startup. We borrowed money from bank also. Let us say we borrowed around 100 crore from SBI. We started our company. But now the company is running into loss. All right. Company did not make much profit, etc. It made loss. So we are already facing a loss of minus 30 crore. Add that with this 100 crore, we are totally having 130 crore debt. Debt is there. But the company's idea, the startup idea, is very, very good. It is still like what is a totally new idea. Let us say something to do with AI. So there is tremendous potential for that company. The problem is we lack funds. Funding is very limited. Now, two options are there. What is the option? One is to sell the company. People are ready to sell the company, buy the company out. Many people are offering, from Facebook to Reliance to Tata to Birla, Ambani, everybody are ready to buy out the company. They are like, we'll buy the company from you. But both of us know, me and Satish knows that no, this company does have a future, because if so many companies are ready to buy it out, it only means what? This idea can run into millions together. Now, what do we do? What we decide to do is we decide to sell only a few shares of the company. Shares. How much shares will we sell? Because I need money. Both of us need money. We need money for this clearing our debt. Plus, we also need some working capital. We need some money to play around, to invest again into our company. So what we decide is, we decide to sell, let us say, 15% of our shares. 7.5 from Satish, 7.5 from me. 15% of shares, and we decide to keep its value at 130 crore. 15% shares, 130 crore we must get. We decide to sell those shares, and then we want to see how many people will buy. But like I told you, so this is what 15% shares I'm selling at 130 crore. That is the valuation I kept. So one share may be around, let us say, one share may be priced at around, let us say, 1,000 rupees. Many shares are there, many running into lakhs together. High demand for the company, many people bought it. We got our money also. What have I done here? Whatever debt was there, I converted it into shares. I didn't sell my company. I didn't take fresh loans, nothing. Debt I converted into equity. But one thing happens now. Now me and Satish put together, we have only 85% share. The remaining 15% is owned by, let us say, Reliance. Reliance came and bought all the shares. The nice amount. We were keeping a target of 15%, 130 crore. We ended up getting more than 300 crore. But now what happens? Me and Satish, if we have to take any decision, we will have to keep Reliance also in the loop. Reliance also will give their suggestion how to run this company better. Getting the point here? That means both of us cannot do our manmani there. We cannot do whatever we feel like. We will have to consult with them and then take a decision. We will also love the fact that their business acumen, how they will think, that also comes now. We will become more disciplined. We will not go and waste money anywhere. We will see to it that after clearing the debt, whatever money is there, it is put to good use. Means what? When you convert debt to equity, what are you doing is, you're actually diluting your ownership. That is the first thing that happens. Your ownership gets diluted, because initially, me and Satish put together, we were having 100%. Now it has reduced to 85. Dilution of ownership, number one. Number two, discipline comes. Why? Because now the shares are being bought by other people. They also end up becoming owners of the company. You are answerable to them. Majority is with me and Satish only, no doubt about it. But that doesn't mean that I can do my manmani. Because if I do that, what will happen? Reliance feels that, oh, these two are taking all blunderous decision. Reliance will not think twice to sell this 15%. And if Reliance sells this 15% off, our company will lose value in the market. Then nobody will come to buy it. We will again go into further loss. That is the logic here. Getting the point? This is what he has suggested even for the PSUs. Dilute it. That means this is the other option available for the government. Rather than going for disinvestment, what the government can do, alternative suggestion, or rather alternative to disinvestment. Any doubts on this? All right. Unless the public sector share of the market is such that the concerned public enterprise is the price leader, there is no point in the public sector alone charging a price lower than those of other producers. This is very much in practice today. I don't know whether you people have noticed it. There is something called as dynamic ticket pricing today that is being used even in Indian Railways. That is, simply put, generally when we book a railway ticket, there is a range with which the price will be there. Within a range only it will be there. But these days, if you have booked a ticket, especially for second AC, sleeper, third AC, etc., sometimes what you will find is the first AC or second AC ticket prices are matching with our flight prices. You know? Because in flight prices, there is something called as dynamic ticket pricing. That is, let us say now, today it is 27th October. So I want to book a flight on 2nd, that is Sunday, March. 2nd March, I want to book. No doubt, questions asked, prices will increase. Why? First of all, it's a Sunday. Demand will be very high. Less number of days means prices will increase again. Automatic it is. Same system we are adopting in railways today. Because the point is, what the Sengupta committee is telling is very simple. Are you a price leader there? Price leader means your price is the most competitive price there. Then, okay. Otherwise, if entire market has kept the price high, that is flight prices are high, bus charges are high, then Bhaiya, why have you kept the train charges so less? That is the question. Especially during weekends, etc. If you are planning to travel, let us say Bangalore, Chennai, or Bangalore to Kerala, Kerala to Bangalore. Let me tell you, just for an 8-hour travel, bus charges can range anywhere between 8,000 to 15,000 rupees. That too for a normal seater bus. If it's a sleeper bus, the charges will increase again for festival season, holiday season and all. Flights are charging a high price. Buses are charging a high price. Indian Railways, what are you doing here? No, let the poor people travel. Once again, the million-dollar question. Which poor person want to travel in first AC, second AC or even third AC? Show me that poor person. Getting the point here. That means the attitude of government has changed today. It is no more the socialist era that was prevalent from 1951 to 1991. Today, government is also like, why shouldn't I also make profit? Why am I only the loser here? Why should I become a loser here? Simple funda. And let us see it comparatively also. Out of the 100 companies in China that has a global presence I'm talking about. That means these are the supremely strong companies of China. 100 companies. Okay. If you take world over, 100 Chinese companies that has a global presence. 54 are PSEs, public sector entities. That means out of the 100 companies that have a global presence, majority are government-owned companies. Today, can you name one PSU which has a global presence from India? There lies your answer. So we have to learn from our neighbors. China is strong. China is strong. Why is China strong? Their PSUs are damn strong. We will say privatization, nothing doing. Their PSUs are so damn strong. What about Indian PSUs? Still we are sitting with the old concept. Getting the point here. This is the logic. Any questions so far? Any questions? Autonomy implies the operational freedom to take quick decisions with minimum political interference, red tapeism, and formalism. That is autonomy, complete independence. Public accountability implies the answerability for the results of the undertaking to the community. Public accountability, that means you are answerable to the parliament, you are answerable to the government, you are answerable to the media, you are answerable even to the judiciary. If they ask a question, you are supposed to be answering it. Why? Because whatever you have made or whatever fund you have, those all are public money. So when the taxpayers' money you are using, you are answerable to the taxpayer. So if the question comes from the judiciary, the question comes from the parliament, the question comes from the government, the question comes from the media, you are supposed to be giving an answer. The need for public accountability arises due to the following: to ensure that the public undertakings are operated in the interest of the public, to ensure that the public money invested in these undertakings is properly utilized, to serve as a check on the misuse of autonomy by managers, to ensure that the undertakings use their monopoly power for national welfare. That means ultimately it's for public welfare, public interest. What is it? Public demand. You're doing everything according to the public interest or national interest. Are you doing it or not? To check this, you have accountability. Autonomy means independence to take decisions without political interference. Accountability and control may sound similar, but control gives very less room for individuality or innovation. So what is accountability and control then? Control means to control, literally. That means control means what? That is, I remember when I was about to get married, one of my friend actually advised me, control of your wife should be in your hand. I'm like, control? Why control? Otherwise, she won't listen to you. Okay. What is accountability? Accountability simply means your wife is telling you she's going out somewhere. She's answerable to me. And I'm picking the calling her and asking, what time you will be back? It's already late. I'll be back. It's half an hour. I'm already in the cab. Okay. That is accountability. Control means what? Why are you going? Where are you going? For what purpose are you going? No, you don't go. Because control means she needs clearance from me. That is controlling. Accountability means I need not ask her. She's telling it to me. That is the difference between the two. She is independent to take her decision completely. She is also an individual. But she tells it to me without even me asking for it. Getting the point here? That is the thin line of difference between accountability and control. Accountability ensures that the person has freedom to take the decisions, what they feel is right, but they will report on it. Control means what? Before taking every decision, they need clearance. No, accountability will not hinder autonomy. Accountability only means that you are answerable for your actions. You are independent to take decisions, but for every decision that you take, you are answerable. Why you took that decision? What was the reason behind you to take that decision? You are answerable for that. You have to keep the national interest, the public interest there, or the company's interest before your own selfish interest. That is what it is. Every action requires prior approval, and only with the sanction of a higher authority, decision can be made. Thus, officers are always at the mercy of orders. That is control. Control simply means that you keep waiting for the order. Order hai to karenge, order nahi hai to nahi karenge. You're only as good as the orders you receive. So what happens in such a case where control is completely there is, if the order from the ministry is good, the PSU will run properly. The order from the ministry is bad, the PSU will run very badly. Accountability while following procedures still encourages innovation within limits. Bringing a balance between all the three is very difficult, and this is evident from the countless conflicts that exist in organizations. There are basically two ways of controlling an enterprise. One, can either hold an enterprise responsible for results. That is simply known as what? Management by objectives. That is one way. Let us agree on what targets you have to achieve. Profit, loss, whatever. And I judge you on the basis of that. 1 minute, people. Or where goals are difficult to specify, one can control the enterprise by controlling procedures and processes. The latter is achieved by laying down detailed rules and procedures for monitoring. This requires a great deal of intervention in the operations of the enterprise and hence leads to allegations of lack of autonomy. So not everything can be quantified, right? Not everything can be quantified. You will have to so some places are there where you won't be able to quantify things like health parameters, educational outcomes. So there you will have to literally give detailed procedures. So health parameters have to be improved, let us say. And for that purpose, what can we do? From the grassroots level, improve the nutrition, reduce the open defecation. So detailed procedures has to be prescribed for those targets or goals which cannot be quantified. So this will lead to what? Leads to allegations of lack of autonomy. Why? Because you have to follow that procedure only. No other go. Swachh Bharat, okay, to improve nutrition, improve health, you have to reduce open defecation. To reduce open defecation, under Swachh Bharat, you should increase the number of toilets. So focus is only on what? Toilet construction everywhere. Toilet construct we can do. But what guarantee is that people are using it? Ye kaise pata karega? We cannot go open it and see, nah, you are using it, wonderful, congratulations, and close it and come out. That also we cannot do. Getting the point here. So what ends up happening here is control increases, autonomy decreases. The focus becomes entirely on whether procedure is followed. Procedure, ye procedure tick, this procedure tick. Procedure is not followed. Officer decides to deviate slightly. Question immediately is asked. Why you did this? Why you did not follow this procedure? However, when autonomy is granted, it is often abused as the goals are not clear. That is, accountability suffers. That is the other issue then. It is not necessary that when the moment you give freedom to these officers, immediately they will do everything correctly. Instead, we can see sometimes power is getting abused. Then accountability will suffer. So the idea here is where you will draw the line. Because excessive controls, if you place, that will lead to what? Theory X behavior. Lack of innovation. Lack of innovation, it will lead to no new ideas, nothing. Then, if you give excessive autonomy, that will, yes, agreed, it will encourage theory Y behavior, but that can actually lead to what? Activism. Flouting rules, or procedures. You will get activism type officers which you don't want. On other side, it will lead to lack of innovation. Means it's very difficult to draw the line here. You need an exact amount of balance, right amount of accountability, the right amount of control. How are you going to ensure? You will have to take a call based on law of situation. This is that area where you will have the right amount of control and the right amount of autonomy. That way, things will go smoothly. It will depend from situation to situation. Some places you will need more autonomy. So theory Y will move this side. Some places you will need more control. So theory X behavior will be more than. True, because for routine matters, you don't require more innovation, creativity and all. So there you can use what? For routine, theory X is perfect. Then for dynamic, it is better to go for theory Y behavior. Give more freedom that time. Understood this? All right. However, when autonomy is granted, it is open, that is done, which in turn invites a cutback in autonomy and takes the enterprise to square one. That is less autonomy, but more accountability. So that is what happens when an officer exercises too much of theory Y, like activism, then everybody will be like, enough. Don't give this much of freedom. Bring it back. Getting the point here. So this is then bring it back means what? More control then. So that is the problem here. The issue is that right blend to get it. Who can get it? Nobody knows where to get it, how to get it. Because like I told you, it depends from situation to situation. Easiest thing is to do what? Management by objective. Profit is happening. Everything is going well. PSC is running at a profit. They are doing a fantastic job. Let it continue. If it's generating profit, it is working perfectly fine. Don't bother. Don't interfere. Getting the idea? This classic autonomy pendulum, which can be observed in public sectors all over the world, since most governments find it hard to specify goals. The situation in India is therefore not unique. मतलब ये इंडिया के लिए एक separate problem है? No. Everywhere this issue is there. Everywhere. Because no government knows where is that right balance. Why? Autonomy pendulum. Pendulum है ना? Which will go from one end to the other end. उसी तरह है. Extreme, one side if you go, control becomes more. Extreme, the other side if you go, autonomy becomes more. We need the right middle area. And that middle area, as you can see, जैसे आप लोग आपको हाँ मिल गया अरे गया हाँ आ रहा है अरे वापस गया exactly to make a pendulum to stand there, not possible. And every country faces this. If one can improve the quality of control by specifying goals and objectives clearly and developing performance information and evaluation systems to monitor public enterprises, this dilemma would disappear. Matlab, simple funda, targets should be measurable. Simple सी बात. Measurable targets, आंकड़ा, numbers. Give it. I want you to achieve this number. Do whatever you want. That is the idea. To quote that famous dialogue from Dilwale Dulhania Le Jayenge. Beta, Simran, these are your targets. Ja beta ja, ji le apni zindagi. I don't care how you are going to achieve it. Get me these numbers. You are not achieving these numbers, then I will question you. Simple. Any doubts so far? Any doubts? Okay, then people, what we will do is we will take a break now. We will rejoin back from 2 p.m. onwards. Okay. Parliamentary control, etc. We are going to see the different types of controls that are exercised, that we will see. Again, purely theoretical only. Again, it is part polity again. All right. So we will see all those different types of controls, whatever are there from 2 p.m. onwards. All right. So let's take a break now. We'll rejoin back at 2 p.m. Okay.